Hello, everyone, and welcome to Oracle Cloud World 2022. Today's topic is managing the complexity of your hybrid cloud with intelligent operations. I am Chad Archibald, Vice President of the Global Solutions Center for Advanced Customer Services at Oracle. And with me is Chuck Hellier, Director of Global Solution Sales, also with Advanced Customer Services. Advanced Customer Services is one of Oracle's services organizations. It's a global organization. We have over 6,000 customers worldwide. We have over 4,000 application and database experts, over 800 SaaS customers. Our services are really focused on giving you the best experience with all Oracle products and services, from your SaaS applications to your OCI cloud environments, to your database, to on-premise applications. It really is a 24/7 global services model with high customer satisfaction. And one of the key things about using Oracle Advanced Customer Services is that the same company that has the services also developed the software, the cloud environments, and the SaaS systems. So we have access directly to Oracle development and product support. Next slide. And so today's agenda, we'll be talking about our services methodology with intelligent operations. We'll be going through a number of case studies as well as some example scenarios. So what is intelligent operations? This is really a methodology to address data complexity in the IT environment. In the industry, intelligent operations can also be known as AI ops, or artificial intelligence for IT operations. It's really a methodology to deploy data analytics and machine learning that aggregate and correlate telemetry data across all of your workload across different environments. It looks at identifying anomalies and trends in the data that we can proactively utilize to prevent issues and increase overall operational efficiency. So let's go to the next slide. So when we speak to our customers, what we see is that they have a common set of challenges. And within their IT environment, one of the top challenges is that customers are managing and governing a lot of complexity. More so than ever, they have data located in different environments. They have multi-cloud environments, and managing all the transactions. A customer may have a business process that may go through an on-premise database, integrate with a SaaS application, and then go through a cloud environment. So that's a lot of complexity. Identifying where problems occur can be challenging. So the next challenge is customers are dealing with more volume of data than ever. Volume and variety of data in telemetry data. There's so much of it, but we need to make sure we're getting the most out of that data, that it's actionable. Customers also have challenges around the numerous tools and a variety of tools. Many of the tools are often reactive in nature. They solve a particular issue, but they don't deliver a lot of actionable insights. And so that's what we often see. So customers also have skilled resources issues. So they lack skilled resources rather. Again, with multi-cloud environments, the volume of data, you need the right skill set to make sure your workload is stable and performing. And customers now, because of the variety of data, there's an increasing need for coordination between IT and the line of business. So again, you may have a single business transaction that goes through a cloud environment that IT might be managing the cloud resources, but it interacts with an HCM environment that might be managed by HR resources. So you need to coordinate between lines of business to identify where exactly problems occur. Next slide. So with ACS's support model and intelligent ops program, we combine global expertise, a labor model that's a 24/7 support model, and pair it up with modern machine learning practices. So we can keep up with all those challenges you saw on the previous slide, the the high velocity of data. You pair that with trained, skilled resources that we can deploy on-site or remote engineers. We can shift from being from a reactive model to a proactive model, and we can remove problems in the first place. So by using this machine learning, it allows us to deploy an intelligent operations platform, where we produce KPIs and dashboards and apply algorithms to keep up with the volume of data and make it more actionable. The benefit to our customers is that it increases availability in the overall environment. It's not just systems availability, but it's process availability. Your business process is more stable, they're performing better. It's just an overall more reliable environment. It reduces risk in your systems. Overall, that means improved operational efficiency. You have predictability in your processes, and it's just a better support experience for your end customers. Next slide, please. All right, so the specific offering that ACS has here for intelligent operations is Oracle Solution Support Center for Intelligent Ops. And again, this uses it's a labor services model combined with a machine learning platform. So what we do is we deploy agents in all the variety of workload locations, so on-site, in the cloud, multi-cloud environments, on-premise. So we ingest log data from those agents. We utilize our support team to interact with our customers, from the technical account manager to cloud architects and support engineers. We get a unified delivery model that's around the data management. And then we deploy the algorithms within the Intelligent Ops platform, looking for anomalies. So one of the customers we recently worked with had 100 million log entries ingested over 7 days. It would be impossible to have people manually pull logs and make any of that data meaningful. So applying these machine learning algorithms allows us to focus on what's really the problem areas are in the environments. So through that, we've analyzed the data, applied the algorithms. We basically come up with performance analysis, capacity planning, a series of dashboards that we can act on the things that are immediately causing issues, such as could be downtime. We'll have forecast data that will understand what might be a future problem that we should act on right now. So let's move on to the next slide. So a little bit more about the methodology, right? So if you're reading it from observe, engage, and act, we ingest the historical data and real-time data, we prepare it. Again, it could be across on-premise databases, Exadata systems, engineered systems, SaaS environments, and then cloud environments. We engage that data, we observe and manage it, make sure it's secure. We perform analytics on it. Our service comes with pre-built KPIs and dashboards that are unique to ACS. We've invested time working with many different customers and created this platform. The customers that may need additional KPIs or dashboards tailored to them, we can do that as well. And ultimately, this ends up with prediction and action from this. We want to remove problems from causing downtime. We want to resolve problems quickly. That's our model here. Let's go on to the next slide. So this is a snapshot of some of the dashboards that some of the basic ones we have in our service here. It looks at all of the different agents, the entities, the status, databases. Really, the advantage here is you have one spot that can see your full IT environment, all of your workload across sites. It allows for quick drill downs. It's all in one place, and it allows us to really focus on what the current problems are or what potential problems might be. Let's go on to the next slide. All right, let's talk about some case studies now. Our first case study is a United States-based, very large healthcare customer. They have a number of Oracle products and services, but for this case study, The main focus has been around their HCM SaaS environment, specifically payroll and time and labor activities. They had a very large workforce that had, it's critical that they be paid on time. There was a lot of complexity around their payroll cycles. And this customer, before our services were involved, they had a lot of challenges with platform availability. They had performance issues not only in their systems, as well as their business process. And when they did have a problem, it took a large amount of time to identify exactly where that problem was occurring and then how to fix it. So they had to engage many different log files manually, and that you couldn't keep up with that. So with our Oracle services, we were running a mission critical support offering. We were managing 50 different key processes. Again, this customer had HCM SaaS with us. They had an OCI cloud environment that had platform services, Exadata cloud service, analytics, data integrator, and then more than 100 Oracle engineered systems. And so all that software and service, they had business transactions running through that. And with our Intelligent Ops platform, we were able to ingest all the logs quickly from that footprint. And when there's problems, we could find exactly where they were within the logs and drill down on what the exact error message was. So we don't spend too much time researching and then trying to figure out what happened. We can see exactly what happened and then move right to the fix. It aggregated all the logs, provided the operational insight and the visibility. It really shifted from a reactive model to proactive, and that saved a lot of time for the customer. Let's go on to the next slide. And so what the non-technical business impact for this customer was that through that use of our service, they were able to complete their payroll processes in 50% less days. And therefore, by removing all that complexity, they were able to reduce their payroll staff by 60%. And so in combination with our Intelligent Ops platform, we put in place process checks, pre-flight checks to run data fixes before payroll processes occurred. We put 24/7 proactive monitoring around it. And basically it met a business SLA, not just a systems SLA, but a business SLA of 100%. So great outcome for this customer. Next slide. So another customer in Europe, this is a retail customer. They're in 30 different countries. They're a fashion company, 3 different continents. They were having some similar problems in that they were having some application performance issues. Very difficult to identify exactly where the performance issues were occurring. They wanted to improve how they did performance monitoring. And so this customer had a pretty big Oracle footprint as well. They had Exadata engineered systems on premise. They had workload in OCI, including more XSCS environments, Database 19c, DataGuard, Kubernetes engine, so a big footprint there. We were performing we installed the Solution Support Center Intelligent Ops offering, and we basically deployed an on-site and remote labor footprint, and we were able to begin setting up KPIs and dashboards and start understanding where their application performance issues were. We shifted from being proactive in their environment from reactive. So we can see trending issues. We can react before issues cause downtime. So it led to faster issue detection and faster root cause when issues did occur. It provided just overall better transparency in the environment for the customer with the single spot for dashboards. They understood what was occurring in their IT environment, and that saved them costs with lesser need for administration time. Next slide. All right, with that, we're going to turn it over to Chuck Hellier to walk us through some different example scenarios.
Thanks, Chad. We've got two example scenarios, and these are situations that are based on real-world customer examples. Some of the elements of this are added here in order for us to construct the visualizations. But the first scenario covers a service performance issue between an application and database tier. In this example, we have a high traffic volume causing payment cards, and so people who are actually trying to get purchase something through a payment card transaction to be unavailable. And the consequences of these could be a high cost to that business. And so revenue loss, user frustration, and also image disaster. Alternatively, with ACS, we could prevent such an outage by doing issue prediction and having proactive remediation, and thus we could avoid it from occurring in the first place. So the scene without ACS. So imagine an environment where the system includes a multi-cloud platform. And so maybe the application is on Azure and the database is on OCI in XSCS. The customer may have multiple monitoring tools, and they've got manual processes to do log analytics across the whole service. And so getting end-to-end visibility is difficult for them. So the situation is a high number of credit card customers not able to execute their transactions, and so they went to a different vendor. And so the real problem here is the customer doesn't have the visibility of the burgeoning issue, and they don't have the ability to diagnose or prevent it. And this could really result in millions of lost revenue. Now the scene with ACS. And so this issue, as we discussed, this credit card company had a problem in ability to execute successful transaction. And it's really, the core of it is a SQL performance issue. So they're struggling to diagnose the degraded end-to-end metrics with their multi-cloud application. And the approach is ACS comes in and deploys our intelligent operations, specifically OCI's observability and management platform across the multi-cloud stack on all the tiers. And so the application, the database, the infrastructure, and we can get rapid performance insights. We built end-to-end transaction visibility using distributed tracing for fine-grained problem diagnostics. So our solution included ACS ability to isolate different SQL statements that impact the larger wait time across the environment. The remediation recommendations then are implemented to resolve the problematic SQL statements. And so in this scenario, the resultant is the company is able to improve their customer transaction rate to 99.999% success rate, ending up with very satisfied customers, and they increase their subscribers by 15% and return to positive revenue. So now this begs the question, how does ACS actually make this work? So in the analysis phase, we have these agents that are always running, collecting data, and INTOPS's correlation analysis and historical trending, they're always looking for anomalies or potential risks. In detection, we have SQL Warehouse configured to examine the whole fleet and found the outliers. And this is really the proverbial needle in a haystack. So then for remediation, intelligent operations engineers, we finalize analysis and recommendation for the actionable steps to be generated. So at the bottom of the page, you have a little graphic that shows originally what occurs is the ACS engineer manually has to gather all the information, all the telemetry. So this could be across trace files, AWR reports, statistics from Enterprise Manager, and other telemetry from the customer. And this could take multiple days to do an analysis. But with observability management in place, it automatically collects these and it conducts the correlation all the time. So what may have taken analysis across dozens or hundreds of files could really occur with 5 or 6 clicks. In many cases, what we've seen is this could result in an 85% decrease in the service request completion time. So this is a screenshot of operations insights, and so specifically SQL Warehouse, where the ACS engineer gets awareness across the top into hotspots around SQL performance, regarding performance degradation, application SQL inefficiency, and then also changing execution plans. So the chart below is really a mapping of the average SQL response time versus the variability. And so the farther you go up to the right corner in the graph, those are the hotter areas. And so the ACS engineers can look at those hot spots and drill down. So from here on the next slide, the ACS engineer can go and compare and get an idea of what's going on. And so in the little graph, in the first graph, we can see that the wait time is pretty consistent, but in the past few days, it's been changing. And so really this is due to a changing SQL plan. So the difference between the best performing plan and the worst performing plan is shown at the very bottom. And then we can drill down actually into those plans. So the ACS engineer, we compare multiple actual execution plans and the operation costs of these SQL statements. And we build a recommendation on the best practices. So this is the needle in the haystack, finding the problem, and then the analysis recommendations convey back to the customer. In this case, it returns their credit card transaction availability up to 5 nines. Now I'll go to the next scenario. So the second scenario covers a capacity issue on a database host. This is in a hybrid cloud environment. In this example, similar to the previous one, there's an increase in end user traffic, but in this case, the database load spiked beyond what was available in the resources on that host. And so this is exactly what a Black Friday vendor would really fear. The consequences are a high cost to the business, and so revenue loss, user frustration, and image disaster. Alternatively, if ACS is there, we could prevent such an outage by having issue prediction and proactive remediation. So the scene without ACS in the environment is this hybrid cloud environment. In this case, it's an application in Oracle SaaS and an Oracle database on premise in an Exadata. So the customer, again, they might have multiple monitoring tools and manual processes, but they really can't see the end-to-end flow. And the situation is, the capacity trends on that database host, they weren't really being analyzed against historic loads and the upcoming traffic requirements for the campaign. And this resulted in degraded service and really abrupt unavailability. So there was no visibility of the impending performance issue, and there wasn't an ability to prevent it either. And again, this could result in millions of dollars of campaign loss and also customer attrition. So with ACS on the scene, so we know that the consumers, they went elsewhere on Black Friday due to this multi-hour outage. And in this scenario, the customer lost about 29% of the expected campaign revenue, and because of this performance issue. So their C-level executives, they would have had concern for revenue eroding performance issues, but without supporting data, nobody was able to act and prevent that from occurring. So the approach is ACS putting in, again, OCI's observability and management tooling. So our guidance leads to the analysis of linear growth from the past seasonal patterns. So the solution action is ACS actually accurately can predict and forecast the resource needs based off of our modeling. And then recommendations for upsizing the resources could lead to the bottleneck alleviation. So the end result of this is the customer was able to execute the fix with the exact resource requirements, and they were able to increase the revenue gain by 33%. Additionally, they optimized the required cost by rebalancing over and underutilized systems, and that resulted in a cost savings of 15% year over year. So how does ACS make this work in this scenario? So for analysis, again, the agents are always running. We're always doing correlation. We're looking at historical trends, and we're looking at anomalies. In this case, in particular, we're looking at capacity planning projections for the Exadata systems. So we're looking at CPU, at memory, at storage, and I/O resource consumption. In the detection area, Operations Insights is configured to examine the whole fleet and then find outliers for either really abnormally high or low consumption. Then in the remediation phase, intelligent operations engineers, they finalize the analysis and they come up with the actionable steps. Again, at the bottom of the page, we have a comparison of previously. So capacity planning and consolidation using manual data collection, that could take days or weeks of time with lots of AWR reports, host metrics, and other telemetry. So with observability and management tooling in place, it's always doing correlation and clustering to isolate the insights and reducing the time spent on a particular issue. So what may have taken analysis across these dozens of files can occur within a few clicks. And this could result in orders of magnitude of decrease of the service request completion time. We'll look at a couple of slides that drill down into this particular issue. So this is an out-of-the-box operations insight dashboard. It shows the top-level view of the database fleet. It shows the CPU and storage utilization trends. And the ACS engineer is really looking at these graphs of resource consumption to see what changes have occurred that provide the information cues for further investigation. So the ACS engineer will be alerted to look and to drill down into particular areas of resource consumption. So in this case, they do configuration of the trend parameters. And so they look at the CPU utilization. They can look back over a period of time, and they can set the confidence level to a particular probability model. And this can predict when the resources could be exhausted. So the analysis is completed and then given back to the customers to ensure that their next Black Friday campaign is not inhibited by the performance issues. And then also, since this is always going on, the trend might show a decreasing or a steady forecast with significant headroom. And so this can allow the customer to safely reduce the allocations to database nodes or databases, and then they can conserve OCI or license spend, and these could be used somewhere else in their estate. And that's the end of my section, so back to you, Chad.
Thank you, Chuck. So in summary, the use of, advanced customer services for intelligent operations really will allow our customer to manage the complexity in the environment. The 5 challenges that I spoke about at the beginning of the presentation. This service will help increase your overall IT service quality, your business process availability quality, the overall uptime. And then one of the key things I really want to stress, it's not necessarily about only resolving issues quickly, more fast. It's avoiding the issues outright. Less problems is a better, stable IT environment. So, and it's just reducing error rates in your transaction processing as well. I think you will really appreciate the Advanced Customer Services Intelligent Ops service. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.